Hello everyone, hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Strompfel, I'm your coach for the Mt Silver Mences, and for week number 6 of the PCBL, the Mt Silver Mences are taking on Young Metro and his something. I know it's based on Elektross. Young Metro, if you're watching this, I am terribly sorry, can't remember your name. We're just gonna roll with the punches. Yeah, we're facing off against Young Metro in week 6 of the PCBL. You probably know Young Metro at this point. I battled him a ton of times on the channel. Very good guy and very good builder and battler. He's also 5-0 at this point, so you know, battle of the undefeated in week 6, which is kind of crazy. And I just didn't think anything less of Metro. Because, you know, great guy, great battler, great builder, he just steamrolls all over leagues. So, yeah, this will be a great battle for sure. But before we go into teams and why there's no team builder, stuff like that, just want to explain what really happened. So, haven't uploaded this. This actually is like 2 weeks late. But you know, life was kind of crazy here in Sweden. I'm actually graduating in about a week and a half, which is insane. Feels kind of nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. You know, there's a bunch of preparations that needs to be made. I've had a million exams, or at least it feels like a million of them, and I had my last big one today being the physics exam, which was definitely the hardest one as well. I've studied so much for this physics exam, and it's so nice that it's finally over. But you know, sitting in a little classroom with absolutely no oxygen for about 3.5 hours is, it kind of takes a toll on you. My brain kind of feels like couscous at this point, which is no bueno. So if I'm stumbling, if I just forget words, it's because of that. I am so tired, but you know, I don't have any time to record this weekend, so I kind of felt like I would push this out right now. And since you know I missed a week, I'll actually do my week 6 and my week 7 battle in the same video. But we should be back on schedule after this week. Next free-for-all will actually be uploaded on Wednesday, and then we will do a free-for-all stream next weekend. So if you're interested, you will probably find a link in the description. If there's no link that I forgot, well then you can just Google it and you will probably find it, not gonna lie, because you know, the internet is a magical place. You can just search for whatever you want and you will probably find what you're searching for. Now that's just a complete sidetrack. Let's look at the team that Young Metro has drafted, because it's a scary one for sure. So he has a Mega Gardevoir, a AD Slash, and of course AD Slash does not have an item or can't carry an item, but it's still an AD Slash, which is terrifying. It does have a Zoroark, Arcanine, Snorlax, Keldeo, Staraptor, Gligar, Pikachu, Decidueye, Dragalge, and the Mudstill. So from that roster, definitely very scary. He has stuff like Mega Gardevoir, and you know, can you please point me into the direction of my Gardevoir switch-in? I have an Amoonguss, weak to Psychic. I have a Volcarona, not a Gardevoir switch-in. And yeah, I have a Cobalion, not a Fairy switch-in. So yeah, it's kind of a big threat, not gonna lie. He has some other like good Pokemon in the matchup, stuff like Arcanine, very good support Pokemon. He has stuff like the Staraptor. I have very limited flying resist, so that Pokemon is always fun to go against, and he just loves to use that, and he uses it so well. So I wouldn't really count that thing out, even though people say it might be bad. I think it's horrifying in this matchup, so that's always fun. But yeah, looking at Pokemon he brought Gardevoir, Snorlax, Staraptor, Keldeo, Arcanine, and the Mudstill. And I know there are no team builder for this video because, in all honesty, I don't have time. But team builders will be back next video, I can assure you of that. But of course, we're actually going to take a look at the sets that we decide to bring. You know, Metro and I, we're both 5-0. Which means that there are a good chance, especially looking at how our seasons are turning out, that we will actually face off in playoffs, whether it's in the semifinals, the championship. Doesn't really matter, but there's a good chance that we actually get to face Young Metro again. So obviously I don't want to use all of my best sets versus him, if that makes sense to you, because if I reveal all my tricks, then that will kind of leave me in a bit of an awkward situation when I face off again against him next time. Because, you know, I've revealed all my tricks. What I'm gonna do then, I can't really whip up magical sets that will just work out. I have some like really good sets, and I decided not to bring any one of them because I thought that might be better off preserving them for our rematch. And that's not to take Metro lightly or kind of disrespect him in a way, but I felt like even though I might come out as the loser of this battle and lose my like undefeated streak, I felt like preserving like best sets will be better in the long run, so that's why some of these sets might look a little bit wonky, but we're just gonna roll with the punches. So first of all, we do have a Thunderstarian, a substitute Nasty Plot set with the Thunderbolt and the HP Ice. It kind of destroys his team actually, now that I look at it. He doesn't really have a good electric check, he does have a Mudstale, but you know, that kind of gets chipped down by HP Ices, and if he's not careful and he loses that, well then Thundurus is just going to click Thunderbolt and he doesn't really have good responses. I can substitute, I can Nasty Plot, I can become even a bigger threat than I already am. Leftovers will allow me to regain some health, maybe grant me a few more Stealth Dark switching depending on how the matchup goes. So next up we do have a Volcarona. This is supposed to be my Gardevoir switching, and let me show you, this is not a Gardevoir switching at all, but yeah, I kind of had to bring this. This was necessary, which is kind of sad. So we do have a bulky Volcarona, a physically defensive Volcarona, mainly to check Gardevoir. Just Sideshock Gardevoir kind of rips me a new one, so I needed to have this set. We do have the Flamethrower, Roost, Whirlwind, and the Toxic. Flamethrower, just general good stab against his team. He does only have 2 real switchings, which is the Snorlax and the Arcanine. I can Toxic both of them. Whirlwind is for a potential Curse Snorlax, and of course Roost is Roost. Next up we got ourselves a Tapu Fini, good old reliable Tapu Osk is coming back. Haze, Nature's Madness, Defog, and the Moonblast. Haze is again for Curse Snorlax. I am so terrified of that. I can just really just destroy my team. Don't want to have that happen. So we do have the Haze just to check that offensively. And then we do have Nature's Madness, very good against this team, just getting 50% on anything is very reliable. Defog is Defog and Moonblast is Moonblast. Moving on, we do have Kyurem Black. This is kind of a cool Kyurem Black set. Obviously not the Kyurem Black set that I originally thought of, which I want to preserve, but this is kind of a neat one because I have no Gardevoir switching, so I might as well just have a very reliable Gardevoir lure. And Kyurem Black as just a bulky pivot Pokemon is amazing against him. I do have the Iron Head, Ice Beam, and the Earth Power. Destroys this entire team once I get chipped on the Snorlax, or even if Snorlax, if I find out it's something like specially defensive, it's not going to appreciate the Iron Heads at all, unless it's of course cursed. But Roselia Berry allows me to take a Hyper Voice even after rocks, and I can just OHKO the living shit out of the Gardevoir. I can probably one hit KO like 1.5 Gardevoirs with that Iron Head. Earth Power, Ice Beam, Mammoth Spine coverage, amazing, and Roost is of course very good for just keeping up my Kyurem's health, because the funny thing with Kyurem in this matchup is that I can actually use Kyurem to check like 1 or 2 of his Pokemon. Staraptor can't really break me. Gardevoir, well, can break me if Roselia Berry is gone and I didn't KO it. Can check Arcanine, can check Mudstale, stuff like that. So Kyurem is looking amazing. Then we do have a kind of a weird Mega Aerodactyl. Now, originally I didn't really like Mega Aerodactyl's offensive matchup, but the more that I looked at it, I kind of felt like it's either offensive Mega Aerodactyl or no Mega Aerodactyl. So I do have the Stealth Look, Roost, Earthquake, and Ice Fang. Kind of the same coverage as the Kyurem, and you know, I don't have the Iron Head, but I do have a Mammoth Swine coverage, and then I do have the Rocks, because Rocks can actually put in a lot of work. Of course, I'm going to defog more than him, but in case I can put a late game Rocks up, and let's say the Mudstale is dead, well, then Rocks might be very good. And last but not least, we do have the maybe the weirdest set of the week, which is my Rebragus, aka Nico, aka Persian Lola, which is kind of a cool variant this time. I knew from the start when I drafted Persian Lola, I wanted to try out the Technician set, and I thought might as well just do it now since a win here doesn't really matter in the long run. So I thought it's no better time to try out a Persian Lola, and it kind of checks the 80 slash quite nicely. So I decided to bring the Hidden Power Flying, Snarl, Nasty Plot, and the Parting Shot. So I don't really see myself Nasty Plotting up that much, but if I get a chance to, if he wants to stack something to Stealth Hooks perhaps, I can just Nasty Plot up. I do have the Snarl, just spamming my Dark type moves, lowering the special attack might be crucial, or just Suicide Snarl against the Gardevoir, switching into something like my Mega Arrow could be very good. Sea Parting Shot is of course the main name of the game, because that allows my Thundurus to be a little bit more free. I can stay in, I can take some hits from Snorlax, from Mudstale, from Arcanine and stuff, and just get a few KOs maybe, and then see Parting Shot it back and just pretty much revenge kill everything. That's the main goal. And of course Hidden Power Flying is for a cheeky Keldeo switching. So without further ado, I'm actually going to lead off with my Persian Lola, because I thought it had a pretty good matchup, as it leads up with the Keldeo, which was like the worst matchup. So of course I can't risk this Pokemon stay in and be Choice Scarf, so I need to hard switch out. I can't really just take a Secret Sword turn 1 and then just lose my Persian Lola would suck. So he switches into Gardevoir, either predicting me to switch out or fearing me to be something like a, or just not wanting me to drop, being dropped, and then going to my Tapu Fini to get momentum. So he's going to go into Gardevoir. I switch out into Tapu Fini. Not really that good for me because I don't want to lose too much health on my Tapu Fini because it's my only Keldeo check. So need to go straight into my Volcarona. I take not as much damage from that Hyper Voice. I kind of slurp that up. But I need to keep this Volcarona healthy, otherwise I'm just going to lose to that Gardevoir. So I'm just going to go and double out into my Persian Lola because there I thought there was two options right there. Either you switch out into your Arcanine to kind of fear me being Quiver Dance, or you just go and go for the Size Shock straight away because Persian Lola kind of covered both of those. He goes straight into Keldeo, which kind of makes sense in hindsight, but you know, hindsight 2020, I felt like Persian Lola was a good play at the time. So I'm just going to switch out and go into my Tapu Fini, of course. He's going to go for the Sacred Sword this time, revealing not to be any sort of like boosting item. So there's a good chance this Keldeo is Choice Scarf. So my Scout turn 1 was actually in need. I'm just going to go for the Nature's Madness. Getting 50% on something is very helpful. It goes into Snorlax, reveals to me to not be a Super Berry, reveals to be Leftovers instead, which might end up being like something like Roar or something. But, you know, Mr. Trains ends, and I don't want this to be something like a, I don't know, Belly Drum or whatever weird Snorlax that he might throw up. And I felt like this might be the best opportunity for me to get up rocks. I'm just going to go hard Arrow. He actually goes for the Toxic. Doesn't really matter. Arrow is kind of expendable in this matchup. But, you know, Arrow is great at baiting in the Mudstale, which makes me get in my Kyurem Black for free. And Kyurem Black is something that he doesn't really have good switch-ins for. Because he can go into Arcanine all he wants. I can just go for the Earth Power the turn after and do massive damage. And believe me when I say this, I was so close to clicking double Ice Beam. I knew in the back of my head that Metro is the kind of player who wants to switch Insta-Raptor straight on Kyurem Blacks. But I did not have the balls. I just felt like playing safe. I went for the Earth Power. He goes into Staraptor. Very unfortunate, but you know, it's not the end of the world. Kyurem Black is still sitting at 100%. So what am I gonna do? So I'm just gonna go into my my little Mega Aerodactyl. I didn't really feel like getting a bunch of damage on my Kyurem was necessary in this situation. I would still want to take a Hyper Voice from the Gardevoir. So I'm just gonna go into Mirror, take 1,000,000% from that Braybird, and then I'm just gonna throw up my Stealth Ocean, kind of like a Suicide Rocks. But he actually goes into Mudstale, which is very unfortunate. So my turn is kind of dead because now I need to switch into my Tapu Fini. Actually, I go into my Thunders, and I kind of forgot why I went to my Thunders. And the reason why I went into my Thunders is because in case this is actually Toxic, I want to get some huge damage right now. Because if it is Toxic, he's most likely going to go for it now, or switch into Snorlax, which grants me a free substitute. However, he actually has the Rock Slide, which is very unfortunate. Thunders won't be able to just go ham right now. I actually need to save that for later on, so kind of unfortunate, but you know, Thunders will be back and Thunders will do some serious damage. So in goes my Tapu Fini, takes nothing from that Rock Slide, and now I kind of have to defog because, you know, otherwise I just lose to Gardevoir. I have absolutely no switch in. He goes into his Snorlax, which is absolutely fine. I can just throw away those rocks from both of our sides, kind of make my Mega Aerodactyl useless at this point, but yeah, what are you gonna do? So I'm just gonna go into my Volcarona as he actually goes and pulls a double switch into Staraptor. So that was a very good play on his part again. So Metro is just playing me left and right now, and I kind of need to grab momentum back. So of course I can't stay in. I just need to find a sacrifice at this point, which is going to be my Mega Arrow, unfortunately. So didn't really get to do anything in this battle, but it's fine. I am definitely thinking that Mega Aerodactyl can have some value in this matchup. I'm just gonna go into my Thunder because there's two kind of Staraptors that can be brought to the battle. Either a Choice Scarf 1, which means that you're locked into Braybird, or if you're not Choice Scarf, then I'm faster than you, which means that he's most likely going to switch out. Either way, he's most likely going to switch out. Staraptor just does a number to my team, so I can just go for my nasty plot right here, and now Snorlax is looking quite terrified. Because I feel like Snorlax is quite a big nuisance to my team, which means that I actually want to 2-hit KO right now. I am allowing my my Thunders to take this damage because, you know, I can just see Parting Shot in just a few turns. So I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt and actually manage to crit the Snorlax. And this mattered a butt ton. I'm going to see that later on, but yeah, that crit definitely mattered. He was max special defense, terribly sorry about that, but that just allows my Thunders to just 1v1 this Mudstale as well, and not having to see parting shot at all. So he's going to go for the Rock Slide, I'm going to go for the HP Ice, doing a lot of damage, and you know, if he actually managed to not get crit by the Snorlax, my Thunders would have pretty much have been forced out by the Mudstale, but you know, since I crit him, there's nothing I can do about that. I just get to 1v1 this Mudstale. And on this turn, I kind of feel like, well, you know, there is a small chance that Metro wants to pull a cheeky switch into his Carved Keldeo, predicting my HP Ice. So my best play in this situation is actually go for the sub, because that covers him going for the Rock Slide, because you know I can see parting shots. Or if he wants to pull a cheeky switch into the Keldeo, I can actually take that as well, because you know I'll be able to scout the or just take the Scald or Hydro Pump or whatever, and then kill him with a Thunderbolt back. But he actually just goes for the Earthquake, which is kind of questionable in my opinion. I don't know what the hell he was predicting, or it was a misclick or something. Totally fine by me. I can just go for the HP Ice and take out this Mudstale. So now Thunders is looking real good behind this substitute. +2 special attack, he has pretty much no switch, and he goes into his Gardevoir. I'm just gonna go for the Thunderbolt. I want to get rid of this Gardevoir straight away. I get the para, and I get the full para, which is incredible. I'm just hacking this man to the moon and back at this point. I'm so sorry, Metro, if you're watching this. I'm actually gonna stay in and go for another Nasty Plus. I kind of want to get to make this even, just sack off my Thunders and make this basically not happening or something like that. So of course the para is very, very detrimental for Metro, but hopefully me sacking off my Thunders made it a little bit better, because otherwise I would just 6-0 Metro at this point. I would just go into my Thunders, click Thunderbolt until I win. But he said to me that I didn't need to sack off my Thunders. It's the game we're playing and stuff like that, but I felt it would be a better game if I actually sacked it off, so I just did. I kind of felt like it. So I'm just going to go into my Nico, and I'm going to click HP Flying, because it takes out the Gardevoir and it covers the Keldeo switching. He's going to go for the Protect. That's totally fine by me. There's no reason for me not to click the HP Flying again, because he kind of feels like it's a HP Steal, so he goes into Keldeo and takes 50, which is kind of funny. So Technician Persian Alola, not bad at all. And I'm just going to go straight into my Tapu Fini. If he wants to pull a double into the Arcanine or into Staraptor, that's totally fine. I do still have my checks intact. So he's going to go into Arcanine, he's going to go for the Wild Charge, totally fine. I'm still sitting at a reasonable amount of health where I should be able to take a Brave Bird. So I'm just going to go for the Nature's Madness, because that will force Arcanine eventually to heal up, which grants my Kyurem a very, very free switch in, which is awesome for me. So Kyurem is looking absolutely horrible for Metro to deal with. Kyurem is just going to come in, Kyurem is going to click moves, and Kyurem Black is going to get some kills, which is why I drafted this thing. It's so scary for my opponent. So Gardevoir goes down to an Earth Power, that's totally fine. Arcanine comes back in, which is something I don't really understand, because, you know, Kyurem is very good and is just going to 1v1 this Arcanine easily. But there's one thing that I need to keep in mind, and that is that the Staraptor is still existing, and Staraptor is could be Choice Scarf, it could lock itself into Brave Bird, and it can potentially just sweep my team. And the only way that I can kind of deal with the Staraptor is to keep my Kyurem above 60% health. If I do that, I guaranteed live even an Adamant Brave Bird from the oh, I think it might be Jolly. Yeah, I calculated to be Jolly. Just erase that. As long as I keep above 60%, I will take a Jolly Choice Scarf Brave Bird from Staraptor, and I'll basically be able to revenge kill that. If I'm below 60%, then there's a roll to kill me I can potentially lose. So that's the only goal that I have. I need to be above 60%, and you're gonna see that influences my play later on. So I'm just gonna go into my Volcarona. Because Mr. Terrain is not up, I can Toxic something, which is going to be very helpful later on. And just Toxicing this Arcanine might make my Kyurem Black beat it a little bit easier. He's going to go for the Flabits, does absolutely nothing. Volcarona just slurps that off with my Physical Defense. Well, still does 50, but you know, it's a Volcarona. Being hit by the physical side, anything is basically good. So I'm just going to go for the Roost, and since I'm at 100%, I'm actually out of range of this Hydro Pump, which is kind of funny. So I actually am able to take that and go for my Toxic on the Keldeo. Now that thing on the timer as well means that it's a little bit harder for him to double around, which is quite good. So he's going to go into Staraptor next. I'm just going to go for the Roost in case he wanted to pull any sort of switch out, or just feeling that Keldeo might not be the best choice, because, you know, if Keldeo actually takes out my Volcarona, well, then my Tapu Fini or my Kyurem can come back in and just threaten the hell out of him. So he actually goes into Staraptor, makes a very good play in my opinion, takes out my Volcarona with a Staraptor, because that keeps my something like my Tapu Fini out, keeps something like my my Rebragus or the Persian Lola out, but you know, that kind of invites in my Kyurem instead, and since I'm above 60, I can just take this opportunity to go for an Ice Beam. But he actually reveals to not be Choice Scarf, since he actually changed up moves, which is very good for me. I just go for the U-turn because I felt like he would switch out, since I'm above 60, so he can't take me out. So he goes into Arcanine, that is totally fine. He goes for Will-O-Wisp, misses, doesn't really matter. Residual damage actually might make me roost a few more times, but I would still be above 60 and just take damage, take any sort of damage from the Staraptor either way, so I don't feel like it mattered that much. He's going to go into Staraptor, picking another Earth Power, good play on his part, go for the U-turn, and then go back into the Arcanine, kind of stalling or intimidating me. I don't really know what he's doing at this point, because all he's really doing is getting toxic damage on his Arcanine, but you know, Will-O-Wisp in hindsight could have mattered, but he's going to go for the Flare Blitz. I'm just going to take it out with an Earth Power, which is very, very good. So now Kyurem Black is looking very good for this endgame, and in comes the Keldeo. And I kind of need to explain this. So I told you that I need to keep my Kyurem above 60% in order to not get swept by the Staraptor, but now that we know there's not a Choice Scarf Staraptor, that changes up things a butt ton, which means that my it's actually in range of my Z Dark move, or Z Black Hole Eclipse, from my Persian Lola, so the only thing I need to do now is actually take out the Keldeo. And Secret Sword from a Scarf Keldeo is a roll on my Kyurem, and that's actually a roll I'm willing to take, because if he for some reason does not take out my Kyurem, I take him out with the combination of Toxic plus the Earth Power. If he does take me out, that grants my Tapu Fini a switch in, and it grants me Tapu Fini a kill, and which means that basically Tapu Fini or my Persian Lola will win in the end. So he's going to double out into the Staraptor. It is a good play in hindsight, but the only thing I need is one kill at this point. I need Kyurem to kill something. If he does, then one of my other Pokemon will actually just win the game. So he decides to just go for maybe a crit with the Brave Bird. It actually does not end up getting it, which is very good. So I can go, so Kyurem Black just takes out one more Pokemon. He goes to the Secret Sword, takes me out. I could have switched out Preserve Differential, but at that point I didn't really feel like it mattered. So I just let my Kyurem go down, go into my Tapu Fini, and go for the Moonblast to take out the Keldeo. So that will be a good game to young Metro. Obviously, I hexed him so much in this battle, so I can't really take full credit for the victory, but it's still a very, very good game. I definitely needed to use my brain in this one, and I hopefully we get to face young Metro in playoffs, so we get to bring a full team of Pokemon that I feel have a very good matchup and just the best sets I can bring, and hopefully there won't be any sort of hacks in that battle. That will be the ideal scenarios. But till next time, Metro, GG, I hope we face off again, and yeah, let's move into week number 7 versus Luke. Okay, so now we're in week number 7, and our week 7 opponent is actually BC Lukey and his Humilau Hustlers, which is a very scary opponent. Luke is actually one of my good friends. Really, really good battle, a very underrated battle in my opinion. So this is definitely a battle that I intended to not take lightly. You're going to see that in my team, that shit did not end up as I planned, but that's totally on me, that's not on Luke. Luke actually played this phenomenally in my opinion, but yeah, I'm actually gonna take you back a little bit, take you back to the week that I had to battle Luke. We're gonna do a little bit of a Tanamongyoy, or however the fuck you say that last name, and we're gonna do a little bit of a story time. So, the week that I faced off against Luke was actually the week that I had the most stuff to do. I had no free time for Pokemon. There was just things after things after things, and I just could not prepare a team accordingly. So I started off on Monday. I realized, shit, I have to battle Luke this week. This is actually a team that I have I just struggle to prep for. I realized that when he actually started drafting his team, this is going to be hard. So Monday I started preparing my team. I actually started preparing my team in history class while we watched a movie. I thought, well, I'm graduating in a few weeks. There's no real reason for me to watch this movie. I might as well just go and start preparing for my team. So I started writing down a few notes about Luke's team and felt like, well, I can just take this off later down the week. I should have some time, right? Well, that turned out to be a horrible mistake. I had no time to prepare at all, which means that when Friday came around, which was actually the only time that I could battle, I was actually on my way home from the bus. Well, I was on the bus on my way home from like the inner city where I hung out with a friend, and while I was on the bus I realized, shit, I don't have a team for Luke, so I decided to start building my team on my way home on the phone, which was my first mistake. That's kind of like lesson learned from this battle. I'm never gonna build a team on my phone again, because that went so horribly wrong. I can't even imagine expressing the amount of emotions I feel about this team and how my mobile phone kind of fucked that up. So obviously you're kind of taking a risk when you're building on your phone. Things might get delayed and stuff like that, but I just had no options. I needed to build on my phone. And when you're going up against a team that has a Mega Charizard X, a Landorus Therian and a Magearna on the same team, you already know it's gonna be a tough one. And yeah, building on the phone did not help that. But when I built this team, I felt like, well, I'm 6-0. I feel kind of confident. Munchlax is coming. That's the only thing I know about this team. Munchlax is coming. And Munchlax has a absolutely horrible matchup in this, in all honesty. But I knew I wanted to bring Munchlax. Munchlax is coming. People want the Munchlax. I'm giving people what they want. Now, jumping into the team that I actually ended up bringing to Luke, we can see that I'm rocking this very special Cobalion set. It is a Stealth Rock's Toxic Hinpar Bug and Close Combat set with the no EVs. And only a naive nature. Now you might be questioning, why do I not have any EVs? Well, dear viewer, I have absolutely no idea where my EVs went. Do not build teams on your phone, it will end disastrous. Now you might be questioning, why the hell do I have Hidden Power Bug? Well, that's supposed to be Hidden Power Ice, but yeah, shoutouts to my phone, it kind of went disastrous. So yeah, Cobalion, no EVs, rocking the leftovers for that passive recovery for the hits that I'm not going to be able to take since I do not have any EVs. Awesome, so next up we got ourselves a Mega Aerodactyl, rocking the Ice Fan, Crunch, Roost and Earthquake, supposed to have the Stone Edge, but I don't know where that went, if I took it off or if Shodan replaced it. I am rocking the very nice No Attack set. I do not know where my attack EVs went, but you know, we're gonna roll with the punches. Next up we got ourselves the Kurum Black, ICMC, Earth Power, Ice Beam, Roost and the Freeze Shock. The C Freeze Shock just to nuke something. I knew straight from the bat, if I can kill something that will help me break down his team. However, I have no attack EVs, which is coming back to haunt me now, because now I'm not going to be able to take anything out with my C Freeze Shock, which is kind of unfortunate. So shoutouts to Shodan just deleting my attack. That's kind of unfortunate, not gonna lie. Next up we got ourselves the Tapu Fini. Literally, I do think the only Pokemon where my EVs actually got like not dealt with. I am just rambling. I don't even know. I'm getting so tired. Tapu Fini, one of the few Pokemon that Shodan did not take any EVs away from. Defog, Nature's Madness, Taunt, and Surf. Kind of, in my eyes, kind of self-explanatory. But you know, Defog, getting rid of hazards. I am very hazard weak, even though I do not have the Volcarona. And even though I want to have Stealth Rocks up, there might be a point where I need to Defog. If, let's say, the Mega Charizard is dead. Nature's Madness, 50% on anything. Just free, why not? Taunt, just stop like Call by Mew, Curse, and Recycle on the Muck. Something like a Calm Minding or Iron Defensing Cofagrigus. We can stop stuff like Taunt the Calm Mind Cofagrigus as well. So Surf, just best coverage that I had. Next up we got ourselves the Munchlax, coming off the bench for the first time. Super excited to bring a Aeron to for 20. Unfortunately, my man does not have any special defense, because that went out the window when I opened my phone to start building. We do have the rest, Toxic, Earthquake, and Whirlwind. Kind of like an interesting Pokemon. It kind of checks Magearna quite nicely. So Munchlax is here for the Magearna. Unfortunately, there's no Magearna, so Munchlax might not have as much screen time, but it looks so cute in the team preview. And last but not least, we do actually have a... No, I do not have any defense. So, next up we're going to test another Pokemon where Shodan kind of messed up my spread. We do have the Amoonguss with no defense. We do have the Stomping Tantrum, Foul Play Spore, and Sludge Bomb. Kind of an interesting set, in my opinion. Stomping Tantrum is, of course, to deal some damage to Magearna and the Charizard X. Foul Play is mainly for that Charizard X or the Landers. Sludge Bomb, my best stab, and Spore, putting something to sleep, will be kind of valuable in my opinion. So, with that all being said, I am in a huge disadvantage in Team Preview. I think I realized while I was in Team Preview that I had no EVs, which is horseshit. But you know, we're gonna. I kind of laughed when I went into Team Preview because I clicked accept on my phone and then I went to my computer to actually play the battle, and that's when I realized I am in a disadvantage. I have no EVs and so my moves are wrong, but I kind of laughed at it. You know, what are you gonna do? I kind of deserve it for not actually putting the time or the effort into making a proper team. So I'm gonna lead off with my Cobalion because, you know, I want to get up rocks. Unfortunately leads off with a Charizard, but in the odd chance that he thinks that I'm Stone Edge or he thinks that I'm T-Wave or something like that, I might be able to scare him out, which is what I went for. So I'm just gonna go for the rocks as he goes in. No, actually gonna go for the Toxic in case I go for the DD as he switches into the Mew, which is very, very good for me, so I can just get off my rocks. Unfortunately, I am not faster than this Mew. I was supposed to be, but you know, where are my EVs? So I'm just gonna go for the slow stealth instead of the fast one. He goes for the U-turn, which is totally fine by me. I could just get off my rocks, takes absolutely no damage, and then goes straight into my Mega Aerodactyl. Unfortunately for me, I do have my defensive EVs intact, so I should be able to take some hits. I'm just going to go for the Ice Fang, break this guy's sub, so he's not going to be able to do anything with the Stone Edge. Well, it does 62, but that's not really too much damage. He's going to go into this thing. What's this thing's name? Comfy, yeah. And I'm just going to go for the Roost. Unfortunately, I do not have any attack investment, so I can't really do any sort of damage to this. Just gonna go into my Mungus, and he reveals the Defog, which is a problem. I kind of forgot that this Pokemon actually carried the Defog. Shoutouts to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but you know, what are you gonna do? I'm just gonna go for the Spore, hoping that it maybe goes into the Kofag or something, but it goes into Mew, revealing safety goggles, which is kind of cool. So even though Mew can't get status, I still reveal its item, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to go straight into my AA run 2 for 20. Shoutouts to Munchlax, being on the field for the first time feels great. However, he goes straight into his fighting type, and I make a terrible prediction right here because I feel like Amoonguss is very obvious, Tapu Fini is very obvious, I do have a Mega Aerodactyl which I switched into last time. He's going to go for the substitute, so I'm just going to go for the Whirlwind and play a little bit cheeky, play a little bit hyper aggressive with my Munchlax. That backfires like all crazy. I still take the close combat, so shoutouts to Munchlax for taking that hit, but I go for the Whirlwind, so it's basically a moot point. I bring out the Mew, getting some damage on the Mew with a Toxic, so shoutouts to Munchlax doing a little bit, but I can't rest on anything, so I'm just gonna sack it off. So, unfortunate to see that shit go straight down, but what are you gonna do? I kinda went into this battle with a little bit of a disadvantage, so now I'm gonna go for the Cobalion, go for my rocks. However, he is faster than me, which is just unfortunate, and he goes to the Focus Blast and takes me out, and yeah, this is looking very, very bad. I'm just gonna go into my Mega Aerodactyl, maybe go for a cheeky Crunch. He's gonna go into his Comfy, playing very well, just scouting for the Crunch, potentially, or something like the Stone Edge, which Comfy can take pretty well. So, now he's going to go and double out into the Cofagrigus, and you know, I actually did some calcs with my Kyurem on the bus, and it told me that if I had the right attack investments, this Kofag should be dead. However, I kind of forgot that when I was playing, that I had no attack investment, so that does nothing. Which is very unfortunate. I get my Kyurem burned, which is horseshit, so now I'm not going to be able to do anything, because I still have some special attack. I'm not minus special attack nature, but he has an Alola Muck, and I'm not going to be able to break that through. This is just, in all honesty, very painful to watch back, since I'm struggling so much I can't do anything. He's going to go for I think the knockoff this time, or the pursuit, just to do a little bit of cheat damage, but you know, I have nothing to switch into, so might as well just stay in. I'm just going to go for the Roost, see if I can reveal some more moves. It actually goes for the Recycle, so you know, we have two moves, probably some sort of Poison Jab or knockoff, and then maybe a coverage moves to deal with something like that. So I'm just going to go for the Freeze Shock, because you know, I might fire it off, I might get a Paralyzation, it might be like my saving grace. But of course he's going to switch out into the Comfy. Comfy is actually going to take a 31%, which is quite a bit for a non-attack invested Burned Kuren Black with a free shock, which is quite good. So he's going to go for the Synthesis. I'm just going to try and go for the Ice Beam, do a little bit of damage. Actually just 39, which is quite good in all honesty. So I realize I'm not going to be able to break this. I'm just going to go into my Amoonguss. Amoonguss is like one of the Pokemon that I can see myself doing a little bit too. But yeah, this is looking very rough for me. I don't really see myself just coming out on top at this point. But he's going to go into Mew. He's going to take a little bit of damage from the Sludge Bomb, not at all a lot. So I'm just going to go into my Mega Aerodactyl. Amoonguss is one of the Pokemon which I actually can do something with, so sacking off would be foolish. I'm just going to go into my Mega Arrow, go for the Crunch or the Ice Fang, I think. Actually going to go for the Earthquake apparently. So Earthquake does 32. Absolutely nothing. I'm not going to be able to break this config with my Mega Aerodactyl. Amoonguss could do it, but the thing is he can just switch around inevitably, and I'm going to run out of PP, or I am just going to straight up just struggle to death, which is kind of the same thing now that I say it out loud. So I'm just going to go for the Spore. I don't think he's going to switch into Mew again, since I revealed to have the Sludge Bomb, and it is a technically a 2 KO from that range. So I'm going to put that thing to sleep, go into my Kuren, maybe put on a little bit of pressure, but he reads that perfectly fine and goes into the Muck Alola form. I'm just going to go for the Ice Beam, maybe hoping for a freeze in all honesty. He goes for Recycle. Well, it's not going to affect him because, you know, he has the item. So I go for the Roost, maybe keeping this Kuren at a reasonable amount of health will help me out in the later on, but I'm just prolonging the inevitable at this point. I can't break his team at all, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm going to go with Earth Power. He reads that nicely and goes into his Charizard X, and I'm just going to switch into my Tapu Fini. That's the only reason why I have Tapu Fini on the team, just to deal with this Charizard. He goes for the Sword Stance, and I'm like, shit, this is a problem. I'm not going to be able to deal with this. Luckily, my defensive investment actually did not get thrown out the window by dear old Showdown, so I'm actually going to be able to take this Thunder Punch, do 50 to the Charizard, putting it in range of the Earthquake. So that's at least pretty good. So, you know, we're doing progress right here, boys. We're doing progress, but it's still looking kind of rough because I'm not going to be able to break this Comfy at all, which is bad, in all honesty. And Charizard is still sitting at 50 and pretty much going to get a kill every time it comes in. So, yeah, this is going to be tough. If we want to pull out some sort of miracle out of our asses right now. But yeah, this is just kind of over. I'm just trying my best to pick up some differential. Spoiler alert, I do actually lose this game. When I lost Tapu Fini, I just realized there's no chance of me winning. I just want to play and see if I can get maybe a few kills, not be 6-0. That would be lovely at this point. So I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, maybe get a crit. Or something like that. He's going to go for the Calm Mind. Of course, I can always switch into Amoonguss if I want to, but at this point, there's no real reason to. I'm just going to go for the Ice Fang, maybe hoping for a freeze. If I get a freeze, then maybe I can do something with a Mega Arrow. Probably not, but I'm just going to go into Amoonguss. I feel like at least I'm not going to get swept by this Comfy. That's the goals at this point. That's kind of the level we're at. It's kind of sad, but you know what's gonna do. So I'm just gonna go for the Foul Play. It does 10 to the Cofagrigus, just to put a little salt in my wounds. I can even do damage to this Cofag with my Amoonguss. So I'm just gonna go. I don't even remember what I go for. I kind of blanked at this point. I'm just gonna double out into my Mega Arrow. Yeah, that's right, because I felt like the Charizard might come in at this point. So I can just go for the Earthquake. It still does nothing, and yeah, this is kind of painful, so I'm just going to put this on normal to make it go a little bit quicker, because, you know, why not? He's going to go into the Virizion and go for the Close Combat take on my Kurm. I was hoping for an over prediction. I did not get it. It's nothing I can do. Just go straight back into Amoonguss, go for the Sludge Bomb. Luckily, I actually do not get a poison. I got the poison on Mew, that's right. So I'm just going to keep on going for the Sludge Bombs. I actually do get the poison right now, which means that I can just stay going for the Sludge Bombs, hoping that I may be able to take out the Charizard and lower the differential a bit, because, you know, at this point, there's no chance of me winning with an Amoonguss and Mega Aerodactyl. Both of them kind of lacking coverage. Well, Mega Aerodactyl lacking the the attack investment and Amungus lacking the defense investment. I actually got a crit Stomping Tantrum, which almost does 50 to the Muck, which I found pretty hilarious. So Amungus just jumping up and down, proving its worth. Though he's going to go into the Mew. I do kind of think that he feels bad at this point, which is why he allows me to take out the Mew with a foul play. He could just switch back and forth between Mons and just 6-0 me, but I do kind of enjoy getting a few kills with Amungus. So thank you, Luke, for that. I do kind of feel like that was intentional, so shoutouts to you, boy. I'm just going to go into my Mega Redactyl on the Virizion, which kind of feel like would be C-bounds for Amungus. Turns out to be Continental Crush, so that's just going to straight up Oko my Mega Redactyl. Last Pokemon is my Amungus. There's nothing I can do. I can just try and Sludge Bomb tank out this Virizion. Unfortunately, I do not get a poison, which means that he can preserve the Virizion and go into his Alola Muck, which actually takes absolutely nothing. He can go for the Recycle and just prolong the inevitable, and just gonna skip a few turns where he goes for the knockoff and takes my Amungus. So that will unfortunately end our winning streak. We're now 6-1, which is not at all a bad record. I just want to say GG to Luke. Even though this might have been a little bit one-sided, I do still think he played absolutely fantastically. He did not allow me to get back into the game at all time, basically. He just he didn't really take advantage, but when you get a advantage over someone, you should definitely not allow them to get back into the game. He just outplayed me in several turns. He did not allow me to get back into the game, which is what you should do if you're in that position. So shoutouts to you, GG. I really do hope we get to facing playoffs, so I can get to play with a better team than this one. I'm not going to say that I was like in a losing position straight away, but I was definitely in a disadvantage. So yeah, hopefully I get to face Luke in playoffs. That will actually be all for this video. I don't even know how long this has been. I am very tired. I actually need to go and take a nap. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, yeah, hopefully you're excited for the free-for-all going up on Wednesday. I know it was a really good one. And yeah, I'll see you all next time for week number 8, where we need to get our redemption for this devastating loss in the PCBL. So, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.